better song than the Fat Chick song. You guys. Welcome back to Ray Lucia Show with Lynn Rowe. Very thin, very fit, certified financial planner. We're talking about short-term care today, something we haven't really covered much on this program. A short-term solution, since about half of all insurance claims for care last less than a year. Mm-hmm. And therefore, you can save a bundle of money. Now, this should not cause individuals, Lynn, to avoid purchasing either something that would cover long-term care or a life insurance policy where you can access the death benefit or whatever.
Right.
But for individuals that are sort of stuck in the middle here, from a financial perspective,
Right.
this
Some is better than
is
none.
a really,
Yes.
really affordable option. As we just discovered, for myself, it would cost me $40 a month, less than $20 a month, that I would save just because I can get $250 a year out of them for prescription drugs. We're talking
Right.
about less than $20 a month
I know.
to have a benefit of how much? $150 a day, is that what you said?
$150 a day for a year. And there's a couple things about that plan. I mean, there's lots of great plans. There's 7, 8 other carriers out there that we can look at that are a little bit more comprehensive because this one's a home care plan. There are some that cover skilled nursing as well as home care. But this one is a limited plan, but nonetheless, it will. The underwriting is very simplified. I mean, two questions for a lot of people.
What are the two questions?
Good question.
Okay, that's what's important here. When she says limited or simplified underwriting, that's a biggie. I mean, I've got a
huge.
background in insurance, as many of you know. And that's a biggie because a lot of insurance companies do their level-headed best to either figure out how to say no to you or to put all these riders and exemptions and all that in there so that when you do get sick, that's one thing that's nice about life insurance. You're either dead or you're not dead, unless it's weekend at Bernie's. But when you're sick, a lot of these insurance companies that sold you a policy have an army of lawyers trying to figure out how not to pay a claim.
Well, and long-term care, in all fairness, is a lot different. I mean, people do not scam long-term care the way they try to with long-term disability because nobody checks into a long-term care facility just to scam an insurance company. That's just, I mean, why would you do that? So their whole approach is altogether different from say, a long-term disability carrier that's dealing with different issues. But the two questions with this carrier happen to be, are you in care today? The answer is no. You passed half the test. And do you have control over all 6 activities of daily living? Bathing, eating, dressing, toileting, transferring, continence. If the answer to that is yes, you passed the test.
That's amazing. Is there an age limit on this?
Yeah, that's another good point. 85.
85. This is fantastic
You can't.
news.
A lot of people in their 80s can't get long-term care insurance at all because the carriers don't write up to that age, or their health is so bad. Like they might have arthritis, they might have had cancer, they might have. But they're in control of all 6 activities of daily living, and they're not in care today. And yet we can get this plan, we can get the other home care plan we've talked about for them. There are some cases, some of these other carriers, the health questions are 4 questions, 5 questions, a half dozen questions. I mean, it's limited underwriting, as you said. And that makes it much easier for people to qualify when they've had issues in the past where they couldn't qualify. There are some that are more lenient about weight, for example, if weight is a big issue. So
Well, wait a minute, that wasn't one of the 2 questions.
No, that's a different carrier we're talking about. Yeah, so I've got a half
So
dozen
you got
carriers.
some pudgy dude like me, and you say, well,
Yes.
you know what? We're not going to ask you the weight question.
Yeah, well, they're going to ask the weight question, but they will go standard all the way up to, large amount.
Like
of weight.
really fat.
Pretty chubby.
Do they have, like a scale from, porky to disgustingly heavy?
I don't think so. I don't think they call it that,
Okay.
Ray. But here's
Because I hear
another
this ad
point
on
that we
the
haven't
radio
talked
all the
about.
time, and the guy says, well, if you're a little bit porky, we can still insure you.
Yeah, the life insurance guy.
Yeah.
Well, but here's another thing that we haven't talked about. If you're the other half of those people that have that 1 year less claim, the half that recovers, right? And you don't need care for, say, 6 months. Some of these plans restore the benefits like you never used it.
So you
So
bought
you can use it
$150 a day. and you used it for 6 months, and then after a certain amount of time, you have still another year's worth of $150 a day in benefits.
If you recover and you don't need the plan for 6 months with this other plan, it's like you never used it. You start over again.
Okay, so a younger person buys this. Is there a COLA, cost of living, anything like that, or do you have to
You
just...
can in some states get the COLA. Yes, absolutely.
So why wouldn't a young person do this?
Because we haven't talked about it enough. That's why, and it's our fault. So we're going to talk about this more and make sure that people know about it.
This is an amazing thing, and you only heard it right here on the Ray Lucia Show. I really have not heard anybody talking about this on any show anywhere in the country ever.
I know.
Because it's something pretty obscure. Now I've got to ask you a personal question.
Uh-oh.
You left the financial planning business where you made huge bucks, because I've known you for a long time. You were a fairly high income earner, if I can just divulge that information. And you went in one day and said, I'm true with this. And you're going to focus all of your attention on something that, I mean, you can't make any money selling me something for $40 a month.
Ray, this is, you know me, this has always been a mission. Since I started in this business, it's been a mission. It's a service. And I see situations where people need this. I see situations where people, for example, who have both parents who've had dementia or Alzheimer's of some kind, they should really be considering long-term care and get the best possible plan they can. I mean, you know, you have to tailor it to the client's needs. And it's the same old story. If you do what's best for the client, it comes back to you.
Very, very, very important that you hire someone who is passionate about this business. And having known Lynn for a lot of years, I'm sure as a financial planner, you did your homework and put your retirement money away. And since I've known you a pretty long time, I'm not going to get into your age, but I'm assuming that you're within a decade or so of retirement.
Could be.
Oh, that was very tactful. In either event, you want to call Lynn, 877-270-3127. If you're going to do business with somebody, do someone that is totally devoted to this field. It's one of the reasons why when I was in the business, I would just simply refer her. Anybody that had a need, and by the way, that's just about every one of us. The statistics, I've never seen statistics like this. When you talk about, you say 3 out of 4 people. 3 out of 4 couples
are going to have some form of need after they retire in the way of short or long-term care. And if you're not dotting the I's and crossing the T's on this and thinking that, you know, I've got enough money set aside, that isn't planning. Okay, that's not called planning. Planning is when you actually sit down with a family, if you indeed have those funds, and say, this is what I want you to liquidate first, and this is what because you're putting them in that role. You're putting them in that role, and it's not a fair position to put them in.
Something that I'm going to talk about next hour, I believe. I don't know if I'll get to it, but Michael Fink from Texas Tech University actually was talking about long-term care being an issue, and he is recommending a QLAC, a qualified lifetime annuity contract that kicks in at say 85 or something like that to pay for care at that time. What a great combo plate!
Yes.
When you can take care of the short-term care situation, which probably would happen between the age of whatever age you are today until, say, age 80 or so, when the QLAC would kick in.
Right.
And then you fund a qualified lifetime income annuity contract to help cover the cost of inflation and the cost of care later on.
Absolutely.
That's a really interesting, I just thought of that while I was reading this article this morning for my show prep. And you've come up with, I didn't know about this, you've come up with a heck of a solution, because I said, well, I don't want to not purchase long-term care in favor of a QLAC because you
don't know when it might happen.
Something could happen sooner. Exactly.
Absolutely.
So this is another strategy that you might be able to employ, in particular if you're concerned about outliving your income but also making sure that you have some kind of long-term care or short-term care coverage. Very interesting.
And if you go to my website, there's a tab on there that references short-term care. You can go in there and take a look at that. So,
And what is the website? I want my LTC.net.
Yes.
I want my LTC.net.
Lots of good information on there. Yep.
Everybody that's listening right now should go on that website and learn about this stuff. Or, as I would do, I'd just pick up the phone and call her. 877-270-3127. I just haven't gotten into that. I mean, I do some texting and all.
You text.
But I still like talk when I'm talking about something that's really important.
Then you want to have a human being.
I want detailed
Yes.
information and answers to my questions.
Yeah.
Like if you go to Social Security or Medicare, I stayed on the phone for 45 minutes the other day just to get one question answered. 877-270-3127. Lynn Rowe. Thank you, Lynn.
Thanks, Rob.
I want to be your partner, can't you see?